Welcome to another edition of a Brobdingnagian Minute. How long is a Brobdingnagian Minute? Well, at least the length of time of any special military operation, which as of now is at least a year.
Your ability to come up with things that are just so
topical and random at the same time.
Yes, it's impressive. You impress me, Andrew. You can make that a ringtone. I don't care.
But when he says I impress him, it's not in the same way that soldiers are impressed into the military. And no.
All right. So
It just I mean there's so many. The beautiful thing about the intro is how many different ways there are to describe, look at, or consider time.
I know you're on number 75. So I mean,
I know, and I'm not even close to being.
I know. It's mind blowing.
I, like most people who appreciate good sci-fi, have always been most fascinated by the concept of time travel.
Yeah. So,
it's one of those things. Time has always fascinated me in all of its facets. So yeah. This is like, I was born for this type of intro. I'm just going to say it just worked out. It was very serendipitous.
So we are going to talk a little bit about AI because we have a unique perspective that I'll share in a little bit. Basically, Andrew has been doing computer repair for many, many years. And I
have to say, when it comes to AI, I didn't really think it was Spielberg's best work. I mean, it was an interesting movie.
Not the movie, man. Not the movie.
Oh,
we're talking about artificial intelligence in the...
Yeah, that was the movie.
So, in the meantime... We're going to talk about that in a moment, but first we want to let you know about some upcoming shows. And we're also going to be talking about Jedi Mickey. I think it's appropriate for this topic too, so we'll talk about that in a sec. But first, we're going to kick off with some upcoming shows because this is the time of year that the Brobdingnagian Bards reunite for at least one show a day during Sherwood Forest Fair, but that's only happening the weekends of April 1st through 9th. So if you are available and you want to come see us perform, go to Page, Texas, right outside of Austin, and join us at Sherwood Forest Fair. And on April 6th, we're going to be doing a Dragon Con Filk music concert that will be available to everyone, an internet concert, 7 p.m. Central. So mark your calendar. And Andrew, your shows?
Oh, yeah, I have shows too. I'm of course going to be at Sherwood, but for the entire run, since it's a local fair for me, I'm not traveling from Atlanta, so I have that advantage. March 4th to April 23rd, 8 straight weekends of the Sherwood Forest Fair. Wow. And then on St. Patrick's Day, or as we like to call it, Marc's birthday.
You're going to be singing for my birthday? That's so sweet.
I'm doing a special concert for in honor of Marc Gunn at the Old Town Restaurant and Bar in Bastrop, Texas. I'm not alone. I got other people along too. Other performers from Sherwood are in anticipation of Marc coming to Sherwood the following month are doing a special performance in honor of Marc Gunn.
Can you make sure you get a video birthday song for me? I'd love to see that.
Oh, I totally will. I mean, that's what the whole show is. So, of course, we will do that. Okay. So, no problem. That'll be on March 17th at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Yeah, none of that Eastern stuff that Marc tries to spout. And then... then yes, you heard it here first, folks. I just got confirmed, and by just I mean yesterday, for the New Jersey Ren Fair. So I'm going to be making my debut there on May 20th to June 4th.
Fantastic! Congratulations.
So 3 straight weekends, and I'm. It sounds like I'm going to stick around for a weekend after that for a Celtic festival there in New Jersey.
Cool. But
that's still being worked out. But yeah, three weekends of New Jersey, so that should be fun. And a bit of a drive.
Right.
So
awesome! Congratulations, man.
And in case you're curious, I'm probably not going to make that drive in one day. Just saying.
You say that, but I've met you.
No. I'm really not.
You said that.
Really not this
what
time.
What happened at Gen Con last year?
No, I've learned my. No, I can't. I can't say that. Nobody will buy that. Let me put it another way. I have friends I can stay with on the way.
Okay. Good.
And it's not that I don't want to do it in one day just to prove that I can, because I'm that type of person. It's that I actually want to see some friends.
Okay, good.
So
fair enough. Okay, that changed the whole scenario. Good.
Right. Okay.
All right. So I got
and you have some upcoming shows too.
I do. I have a lot of St. Patrick's Day shows scheduled. I'll be at Tucker Brewing Company on March 10th. Pontoon Brewing in Tucker, also in Tucker. So that's 2 days in Tucker, Georgia. That's on March 11th. St. Patrick's Day, I'm going to do an internet concert on Bandcamp. That's going to be actually on March 15th, on the Ides of March, because, I tell you something about in a moment that's happening.
So wait, you're doing a St. Patrick's Day concert not on St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah, I'll tell you why in a sec. And then,
sorry. I jumped the gun on
March 18th, I have a show at Pontoon Brewing in the early afternoon, and then on the evening, I'll be at Iron Shield Brewing. So that's up in Lawrenceville. So there is a reason, because I might actually have another concert as well on my birthday. But there's a bonus show. And there's a particular reason. I was thinking about, what do I want to do for my birthday? So when I was booking stuff for my birthday, I decided if I was going to work on my birthday, I was going to charge a lot of money. Such that most people are good.
He's not lying. I've heard him say that.
So that most people, when they want to try to hire me, they'll be like, I don't know, that's a little too much. I don't think I want to hire you. That's too expensive. So that's what happened this year too. So I don't have anything scheduled for March 17th. Instead, I was thinking, what would be the best birthday present? And what I realized is that I've been singing music earlier in the day. I'm going to do a St. Patrick's Day performance for Inara's school, and I thought, it'd be really cool is if I could have a little evening or concert with Inara and Kenzie, and we would sing songs together, St. Patrick's Day songs together. And so I'm trying to set that up, and I haven't done it yet. Right now I'm talking to Little Shop of Stories in Decatur, and I'm hoping that we will go down there. We will go sing some 30-minute set or something like that. Then we'll go out to eat and maybe grab some drinks, and I will be a happy camper.
See, he's just trying to Von Trapp the heck out of his family.
Dude, I've been having so much fun playing Inara. She's been learning guitar, and I'm teaching her guitar, and I've been having so much fun teaching her and singing with her too, because we've been singing songs. Oh, this is great! So I'm not one to jump on trends, right, Andrew? I mean, no, I'm not usually one that really jumps on the trend. It's usually I'm a little bit slow. You're the one who's looks forward and says, "I want to go. We need to do this." I was lucky when I find.
Oh yeah, you definitely don't, Mark. When was your first podcast?
Okay, that was not a good example. Nevertheless, that was because I wanted to be a DJ. That's different, man.
Okay. So, since Mark doesn't jump on trends, go ahead.
I don't jump on trends when it comes to social media. I'm waiting to see if he has an answer for that. Okay, I don't think so.
I'm trying not to say mp3.com because
but that was lucky thing. I didn't even think that. Okay. Well, nevertheless, whatever. When there is a meme going around that everyone is learning, and I'm like, I don't care about the Wellerman. I don't care about that. But who will? Inara's classmates. So I'm having Inara learn the song so that she can sing it to her classmates on St. Patrick's Day.
So what you're doing is you're training your kids to be the hip ones. Okay, that's cool.
Well, yeah, that's true too. I don't know. I'm really excited about this. So artificial intelligence. I was looking at this. I got this blog the other day from Seth Godin, and he was talking about checking the date. So in the past, if someone, if a video or a photograph or something was altered, you could usually tell. You can a little bit of work, and you'll be like, oh, look at this. This is fake. But he points out that we're kind of into the point now where you're never going to know. You're never going to know what is AI created, what is a digital deep fake, what is someone taking voices from someone else to create a new sound. It's the world has changed quite significantly, and these things. Then now there's ChatGPT, there's Midjourney and DALL-E, and what do all these things, the artificial intelligence stuff, what does that hold for us? And so when I was thinking about this the other day, I was sitting there thinking, years ago, Andrew and I started a company called CompuBards, which was a musical computer repair business. I think we had one customer client, but it was amazing nevertheless. And we still won an award for it too, even with that just one little job. But mostly Andrew did computer repair, and, I like marketing and such. And I follow trends, even if I don't necessarily jump on all of them. I'm just saying, Andrew. But it got me thinking, what is our take on these things? And I've been seeing a lot of different people talking about them. And when I talked to Andrew about it, I was all of a sudden struck that there are more things that people hadn't even thought of. So why don't we start by talking about the cool things that we're finding? I don't know if you've done much exploration outside what we talked about, but what are the cool things that you found about ChatGPT, image AI generation? What are you finding?
Well, first let's do a quick. This is what ChatGPT is, true. Because ChatGPT is just kind of like what it sounds. Chat. I mean, what you do is you type in a request, kind of like a search engine, but it will just give the information back. Like, give me who are the top 10 best football players of all time, as a random sports example, and it'll give you a top 10 list with reasons why it chose them. And it's sort of like a very advanced version of a search engine where you search for something, but instead of having to sort through all these different pages that were maybe not formatted or described in the what you're asking, it does all of that formatting for you on the fly. So you get that detail that hopefully exactly what you're wanting. But it can also write things. It's not just lists. It can come back and say, like, for instance, one thing I did was I put in the request. I put in just this description: first paragraph of a book that grabs the reader's attention, that is a Renaissance love story.
Okay.
And you want to hear what it said? It came back with, as the sun rose over the rolling hills of Tuscany, Isabella stood at her balcony, gazing out at the breathtaking view of the countryside. She longed for the day that she would be free to explore all the wonders that lay beyond the walls of her father's villa. Little did she know that her destiny was about to be forever changed by a chance encounter with a young artist named Leonardo da Vinci. From the moment their eyes met, Isabella knew that she had found her soulmate, and she would stop at nothing to be with him, even if it meant defying the strict social conventions of their time.
That's awesome.
Isn't it? I mean, yeah, I showed this to a friend of mine who does some writing, and she was just like, I quit. I mean, it was just, but honestly, I mean, that's what ChatGPT can do. And it even a lot more than that, but that's just a few examples. It does have its limitations. I mean, as an example, I mean, think about that as little did she know, and bits like that are so cliche now. That would that get you through a creative writing assignment in class in school? Yeah, probably. Would it get you a book deal? Yeah. No.
Exactly. Well, so for me, I want to read one of the things that I had because I'm doing shows at Gen Con, and the first time it was like, I wonder if I could do this. And I was trying to come up with it says you can put out a long description of an event that's happening. And so one of the ones I scheduled was Hobbit drinking songs. And I was like, 900 characters, write me a description. And it wrote something. It was far from perfect, but
right.
most of the people aren't even going to be bothering to read this. But here, this is what I edited. This is what I came up with, where I just took what it did and I edited it to fit whatever it originally sent, because I don't even know now. But Marc Gunn, the Celt Father, presents an unforgettable evening of Hobbit drinking songs. With this unique blend of Celtic and geek music, Marc will transport you to Middle-earth for a night of singing, laughter, and merriment. Marc's soulful voice and skilled use of the autoharp will have you tapping your toes and singing along to classic drinking songs inspired by J.R.R. Tolkien's beloved world of hobbits, dwarves, elves, and more. From Don't Go Drinking to Hobbits to Come Adventure With Me, his song inspired by the 1977 classic animated film The Hobbit, Marc will have you feeling like you're right in the heart of the Shire. Come adventure with Marc Gunn for a night of Hobbit hijinks and drinking songs that are sure to warm your heart and lift your spirits. This is an event that you won't want to miss. You'll make memories that will last a lifetime. There's a lot in there that I did not add. You know?
Yeah, but it's interesting. I know you well enough, and I know the writing that you've done over the years. There were a few parts in there I was like, oh yeah, he changed that. Oh yeah, he changed that. And so I can pick it apart, but
it still had things like an unforgettable evening of Hobbit drinking songs. Not me. Yeah. With this unique blend of Celtic and geek music. Not me, which I was impressed with.
Yeah.
Marc will transport you to Miller for midnight singing, whatever. I think it actually came up with soulful voice too, which I was like, I can go with that, tapping your toes.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's descriptive.
So, sure, I mean, there's a whole bunch in there of things that you can potentially do. And since then I've done some social media posts. One of the things that I'm trying, when I did my couple episodes of the Irish and Celtic Music podcast this month, I wanted some things to talk about for when we're going to my Celtic invasion of Westport and County Mayo this summer. And I wanted something quick and easy, and I didn't have time to write something that could be used. So I just asked ChatGPT. I checked it out, made sure some of the information was correct, got more requests than I actually wanted, so I could cut some, and I used those in the podcast, in my newsletter, and it was extremely useful. And
I think that's kind of the bit what we're really talking about. It's great as a research tool.
Mm-hmm. It's great as a tool for things, and I think we started talking about it in the NAGIANS only section. But one of the other things is it's great for coming up with ideas. When I did my I'm getting ready to release Come Adventure With Me to my patron, to everyone who helped kickstart my album last year. And as I was doing that, I used it twice. I used it first to come up with slogans fitting the themes that was looking for: adventure, hobbits, dragons, those ideas. I wanted something overcoming your fear. Those are the ideas that I wanted, some things. So I had it list a bunch of slogans, and I found a whole bunch of slogans that were really cool. I also use Midjourney, which is image artificial AI that does that. And I asked it to create a lapel pin with these same ideas together. And it came up with this really cool dragon. So those two things together, I was like, this is fantastic. There are some great options here. And it just got me really excited that that despite some complaints, it can be a very cool tool. So
yeah, I think some people are using it as a replacement for thought, and that's the mistake. As a research tool that can help facilitate creativity, okay, I totally get that. Not everybody's the most creative. Sometimes time is a factor, and you've got to come up with something, but you need to read over what it comes up with, and you need to make sure it's saying what you want, and you need to do a little editing.
Yeah.
And that's the trick. Did you see the snafu by Vanderbilt University a few days ago? Okay. With the shootings on campuses of late, the president of Vanderbilt put out a message to family and students and all of that with condolences and trying to get together. Him and a few of the other bigwigs there at Vanderbilt, their signatures were on it. But at the bottom of the message that was sent out, the message, this was created using ChatGPT.
Oh,
right.
No.
Right. And it pissed a ton of people off. They used ChatGPT to come up with that message, and it was, wow. The thing is, trying to come up with a few possible messages and some examples of which direction do we want to go with this, and starting off using those as a basis. Hey, here's some examples. Which direction do you want to go? Number 2. Okay, let's edit that and tweak it and make it sound like your voice. Boom, we're done. That would make sense, but that's not what they did, and that's the mistake.
Exactly. And there are, and I think this is probably a good time to start talking about some of the problems. I know that some people were talking about how it could write your essay for school and complaining about that. Or one of the things I did, and I posted on our Facebook page, was I had it write a drinking song, and it was pretty terrible, but very dry.
Yeah.
But I have messed with it since, and sometimes I've gotten some things that are really good. It has a great skill for coming up with some ideas to maybe generate some stuff, to create a new line if you really need to. But as a compassionate thing, that's less so. But using it for writing an essay at school, it's potentially better, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to do the trick. One of the things I had it write something else recently, and one of the things I noticed about it is that it uses very long sentences. And since I started using writing for the internet, I realize, and as a marketer, I realize you got to write short sentences. It's all about short sentences, and you can't keep going on and keep saying "and,"
right?
Which is kind of where it was falling flat. But at some point, it's going to learn these things, because it's going to be these things are going to be worked into the ability, and it raises some interesting questions.
Well, a few other uses I found for ChatGPT in my research was one I found that I really liked was picking fonts. Wow. One of the hard things for doing a website or doing any type of desktop publishing or anything is finding the fonts that either will work or work with a theme or are just different. And it's a challenge. It's an art. People trying to find fonts. It can take hours to sort through sometimes if you have a particular need. But ChatGPT, I can type in, hey, one example I tried was give me Renaissance style fonts that look good, but not many people use. And it came back with 10 examples, and sure enough, 2 of them I already used because I was looking. That was exactly what the kind of stuff, the fonts I'd been looking for, ones that not many people were using, and one came. 2 came up that I was like, that one I use a lot. That one I've used before, and there were 8 others that I really hadn't messed with before. I was kind of like, that is pretty cool. So for a particular need, not too bad. Also, picking color schemes.
Oh, interesting.
Like, hey, I would like the hex codes for a web page for a color scheme inspired by 90s grunge music. And you could do that, and it would come back with, okay, here are all the colors, and this is why, and this is a good color scheme for that is a tribute to 90s grunge. And it's. You could do 1950s television and do an inspiration from that color scheme based on that, and it will do that. It's kind of wild. So for doing stuff like that can be pretty cool. But I for my last Monday Fairlife live stream that I do every Monday, I asked it to give me a list of Renaissance words that are really cool but not used much these days. So kind of the same thing with the fonts, because I was going to do the Renaissance word of the month. And it gave me a list, and one of them I was like, yeah, okay, I'll use that. And it was Galliard. It's a Renaissance dance. And so I put that and defined it and described it and went through, and it was fun. But yeah, I was just kind of like, in a pinch, if you're in a rush or just need some ideas, it's pretty cool. But I'm with you. I mean, like, for instance, the whole doing copy, writing that for short blurbs, it can be pretty good, but it's not going to sound like you. It's not going to be in your voice unless you do a lot of heavy editing. Like you said, long sentences, that kind of thing. Now, for copy that describes an event that's not supposed to sound like you want it to sound like you have your own PR guy. Yeah, publicist. I mean, that's great, because nobody's going to think, oh, wow, he got somebody to write his copy. That's pretty cool. It sounds more professional, and it sounds detached where it's not first person. But it's still, you're going to want to do a little editing, like you said, and tweak it a bit. But from a starting template, it works really well. Now, the trick here with ChatGPT, and also with Stable Diffusion, DALL-E, or Midjourney, like what you have, is it's the prompts. And that's what they're called in AI, prompts. It's the request or description of what you want. And it's just like when you're using Google search, the real trick always for people, like when I was trying to teach my parents, this is how you use Google search, a search engine. The trick is how to ask the question. And you have to get used to that. So, I mean, people can talk about Midjourney, like what you've been used, and say, oh, yeah, I'm getting pretty good at it. But it's a skill, too. I mean, you're taking a lot of time learning how to get the images you want. When, you could just take the time and, go through a list of options and hire somebody and just get the images. I mean, you're still taking time to learn this process. It is a skill that's going to take time. It's not as easy as the press makes it out to be.
It's a lot.
And it's also about models. It's not just prompts. Different models, and what a model is it's just a collection of learned sources, like different images and data that it puts together in a file, and to help create these things. And these are like 5-10 gig files that have all of this data in there that help you create that little picture of a bunny holding a wand about to cast a spell. I mean, that's sort of the thing. I mean, it is different models will work differently, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. So it's not just point and click these days yet. Now, will it get there?
And that's I think that's the interesting part of all this too, is that I think it's doing a good job right now. I think it's a useful tool for us to make some things easier, idea creation, or coming up with some new, fresh ideas. I think it's fantastic. But there comes a point where it's going to be exceptional. I mean, we're just starting.
You're right.
It's going to be exceptional. It could probably write a very successful. I mean, I've heard musicians who've used it to write a biography for their band, and that's great. Right. But at some point, it's going to make one because
bands usually suck at doing
it's
that.
Going to be better than what even those sucky bands do. So I mean, it's getting to that point, and to the point where what is it? Is it actually going to be useful? Is it actually going to be deceptive? How do you start wading through this? And you mentioned something the other day when we were on the phone, which raised another completely interesting question. You were talking about using it advertising, right? Do you remember what you were talking about?
I say a lot of things. No, well, I mean,
I'm talking specifically that they have to monetize all of these things. So if they're going to monetize it, when's it going to be where they start monetizing ChatGPT by inserting words to sell a product? Which is as much as we have problems with with the algorithms for Facebook or Twitter or whatever, which already corrupt our ability to really enjoy the platform, certainly mine, because it starts spreading false information and whatnot, because people are attracted to negative content. Then what happens when they start using the similar sort of thing? Let's create ChatGPT content that while we're using it to advertise to you for something that you want. I don't know.
Right. I mean, it's easy to see where this is going to go if you just look at the history of the internet.
Is the thing, but this is the thing that I don't think anyone has done yet is to think about that.
No, they really haven't talked about it.
Where will it go?
No. I mean, look at search. Look at search engines as our great example. Earlier, search engine at the beginning in the 90s and even in the early 2000s, search engines were all about let's get you the information that you want as quickly as possible and as concise as possible, and get you the right information. Not crap, but the best possible information. And we want to do it better than the other guys. And you had, Alta Vista and Ask Jeeves and all of these different websites trying to say we have better information than the other guys. And once they got to a decent level where the searches came in and you type something and the first 10 results were the ones you wanted, then they started changing things because the quality got there. Then let's monetize it. And you bring it in and you start saying, okay, we're going to put ads on the page. And then, okay, well, ads are working. Let's actually put promoted links. So the first one at the top of the first 5 results are ones that companies pay for to have there. They're not the information you want. They're the ones that companies pay to have listed first. And that all of a sudden, the quality of the information you get is monetized. I mean, they set that up, and it's not exactly what you want. And the same thing is going to happen with this. First, it's all about the quality, and sometimes altruism. The best of people, they're coming in to try to make great software to help people and help the world. And then people get in and say, how can I make money off this? And that's what happens. And the people with money want to make more money, and they're the ones who can do it. So it's going to be an issue. Now, the beautiful thing is that some of this is open source, but what's going to happen is, like I said, some of it is still a bit difficult to use, or there's a big learning curve, or it takes time to get what you want. Well, they're gonna start coming up with some stuff that's really easy to use, works well every time, except they control the content and it's monetized. You probably through advertising or what have you. Now with the graphic stuff, so far they've done some stuff where the easier ones to use, they'll be like, hey, you want to look like an elf, from a picture that you have, sign up and pay, $3 and you get 6 pictures that have you looking like an elf, and you can pick your favorite. And that's they've started doing stuff like that already, but it's going to go crazier. I mean, they've also, now the interesting thing for us is audio, because they're getting with music, being able to, they actually have an AI, Google has an AI music service, but they haven't released it, and they're afraid to, because they're going to get sued, because the training, music is so regulated with copyright. And how do you train it? You train it on music, and all of most of it's copyrighted. So they can't, if they release it, they're going to get sued by ASCAP and BMI and all of these different groups, like almost immediately. So it's all internal right now. They're just trying to improve it and make it better. And over time, maybe figure out ways to train it on music that's not copyrighted, and be able to set themselves up to prove that this is how it's trained, so you can't sue us, to try to develop that flow. But they already have it. It works. It actually creates. I've seen tests that test samples that they've sent out from Google, and it is, and listen to them, and it's passable music. It like for background music. If you want to, like, in a video game, if you wanted to say, hey, these characters go into a pub in the game, and they're all you're encountering stuff, and there's background music in the pub, it would be perfect. You wouldn't be able to tell the difference between that and something somebody else wrote. Now, but the audio part, the singing part, they don't have that down. It's the music is there, and they have like voices that aren't real words, but kind of sound like it. So they have that, but it's not quite there. But that's something you and I have to think about, because one of the things that writing music or being creative or anything, it's all about trying random stuff and picking out what sounds good. That's usually what writing music is all about, or any creative process, really. It's not just, it's rarely some huge glimmering sword comes out of the water and we're inspired and it's like a lightning bolt. Usually it's try a bunch of stuff and pick the best. And that's kind of what the AI is. It's like, hey, here's several options, pick your favorite. And it's getting there. It's kind of taking over the creative process. I describe it now, and I think we talked about this before, it's like a desktop publisher going to specialists, where you're a desktop publisher. Okay, you go to the graphics designer to get your graphics. You go to the copywriter to get your text. You know, and maybe a few other people too, but a web designer to help with a web page kind of setup and all of that. Well, right now they've got the specialists taken care of with AI. They've got the graphic designer with Stable Diffusion and Midjourney. They've got the copywriter with ChatGPT, and they've got the web designer with ChatGPT and some other stuff. I mean, you can do all of that already. I mean, but you still have to put it all together. So you've still got the desktop publisher, but honestly, that's not far away. Being able to say, hey, make me a website that does all of this, has graphics, that does this, and looks good. And you can almost do that now, not quite, but it's close. And but I think pretty soon, I think in another 5 to 10 years, you know, Wix, you know, those companies that will let you easily create a website. That'll be what they're like.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's fascinating. I think this is a good time to realize that, to maybe go back and watch episodes of Star Trek as they're making projects in there. That'd be interesting to look at, because, you know, when computer, can you do? I was like, wow, it's incredible. I know that it can also write code too. It can write code for computer code. So
yeah. And the truth is, it's not exactly writing code. It's got a collection of all of the best code in there, and you say, hey, can you give me? I want to put an audio clip in my web page. Can you? What do I need to put in my HTML for that? And it'll be like, boom, here's the best thing for it.
Will it one day?
And you can just it'll do that now. You can ask for the code and copy and paste it into your website, and boom, it'll put that audio file in there. So it's just, it'll do code pretty well now. It's not perfect, but it's more often than not, it works. Now, if you wanted to do a full program and say, hey, make me an app that'll do this, that's it. I think the thing to remember is just like what the limits of ChatGPT, it'll do a paragraph. It won't do a book.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now you can. They are working on ways to do books, and there are a few AI projects that utilize kind of ChatGPT in weird ways, where it's like doing 1,000 paragraphs that are all linked together. It's kind of interesting, and they do. They just have these relational aspects so it remembers what each paragraph does and builds on it. Kind of starts with an outline and expands using ChatGPT technology, but it's they're not far away. We are in a weird world of control, because we're already listening to a GPS telling us where to drive. I mean, we're in serious danger of technology controlling our lives to a level
time to give up for our robot overlords. All right, woohoo! All right.
Yeah, if you want to do more research in what the future holds, Rewatch Terminator and Terminator 2.
Exactly.
And that'll help out.
And I'd love your thoughts. Just let me know what you think about, AI, because I we end with this negative note, but I feel like there's a lot of good stuff that we can get from it.
It could go a different way. I mean, this could be a
it could, depending on how. Option. But the thing is, I think with the stuff we've learned from Facebook and others, you got to understand where it could go, and then you have to try to guide it. You can't just let the algorithm take over, which, again, is why we have so much division. One of the reasons why we have so much division in our country is because there's been many people just getting into echo chambers that were created by Facebook and others. Among other things, instead of people interacting with one another. And so I feel like it's there is I think there's a lot of hope that could come out of this, but until we start thinking about it, which again, a lot of what you were talking about, I don't think anyone has thought particularly about. They're not thinking about what it could be. Instead, they're thinking about, get scared about, Terminator, or whatnot. And but it could be a very positive thing. We could use these tools and to a great advantage. Like I think you mentioned the other day, before movies, people were saying, "Oh my God, the movies are going to take away from these plays. Oh my God, the TV is going to take away from the movies. Oh my God, streaming is going to take away. It's just one thing after the other. Things change. It's always going to change. It's not necessarily bad or worse. It's different, and we have to learn how to use these tools to make them better, to make them useful." So.
Let's see. A good optimistic point, if it helps, is we kind of have a good 5-year window, maybe 5 to 10 year window here to for the legislation to catch up, because, like I said, it'll handle some of the specialist stuff, but AI won't do everything yet. If we can hold off the corporate lobbyists and actually get the government and the Supreme Court and everything to create some of these standards that legal protections, if you will. Like I really think SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, is going to jump in really hard here and go after like some of the audio stuff for voiceover work, because think about all the voice actors who are worried about their jobs because of AI, reading audiobooks, for instance. I think the unions and everything in Hollywood, they're going to jump in and try to protect the rights of the creators, whether it's for books, for voice work, for actors, for artists, whatever. And I mean, if you start with one area of AI, it's going to set precedent for the others. So we've got about a 5 to 10 year window to maybe do some stuff. But there's also, I
mean, one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about in the past few years is that it's not even just getting legislation, because as soon as one law is passed, someone else comes along to try to change it so that it benefits the corporations or something. But it's just as much each of us realizing that we have power in ourselves to use AI for good, to use it to create things that will benefit us, and I think that is where a lot of the strength comes from. It's about community. This goes back to the whole idea of support local. I could probably fairly easily replace my graphic designer and my audio engineer and my whoever helps me write stuff, which that's me right now. But still, I could probably not hire someone to do that. But the point is that I want those people because they are my curators. They are the people who know better than I do. And they are the ones who will take care of those roles. So a voice actor might not necessarily lose their jobs because they have a unique skill. And while it will be replicatable, it's going to come to a point where we as individuals have to decide, is it more important to do something replicatable, or is it more important to do something that's personal? And I know, and maybe this is just a wishy, hope for the best type of thing. And I know if corporations get involved, it's going to be, it gets dragged down. But at the same time, I feel like that is where the hope ultimately stands. And it's going to be it will be at a point where there's going to, the mass majority, probably people will not care about that sort of stuff. But there will be a large group of us who will care. And what's that?
You know what I just realized? At the end of what we need to start doing, and I bet a lot of other people are going to start doing too, is every time we put out a press release or put out information or put out a graphic, put a little label at the bottom that says this was actually written or designed by a real person.
And so that's something to mark down. I like that. I like that idea.
Right. I mean, because it's like they have that, this text was written by ChatGPT. It's like, okay, well, let's go the other way to show, our support
for the independent artists. Yeah, that's a great idea.
For people who do independent artists and say, hey, yeah, we've, this was actually designed or written by a real person.
That's a great idea.
With actual blood in their veins.
Yeah, I like that. Which I think we're going to segue into the song that we're going to finish up with, Jedi Mickey, because I think it's kind of appropriate. When I first came up with the idea for Jedi Mickey, Disney had just bought Star Wars, and I was worried about where the direction it would go. I was worried that they wouldn't care enough to, and
And you know what? I'm still worried.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm less worried. Let's say that. They are corporate overlords, nevertheless, and of their own sort. But nevertheless, I was pleased how it came out. Nevertheless, when I wrote this song, I started writing the song. I was like, Andrew, we have to write a song about Mickey Mouse and Disney.
Yeah, your anxiety level was through the roof on that. I remember it was really just like, the world was about to end because Disney bought Star Wars. It was oh my God. And I don't think I was quite at your level, but I understood.
As it was, George Lucas had already done the prequels and kind of screwed things up there.
Right.
But it kind of, it took away a lot of my passion for the series. But to be fair, Disney has brought a lot of that passion back. More so. I mean, I'm no longer nearly as passionate as I was about Star Wars when I, in my youth. But still, it was still when they bought it, it helped. It helped me a lot. It took it out of George Lucas's inane control. So.
Yeah, I mean, I will say they've kind of finally hit a point where they figured it out, and that point is called Andor.
True. I'm actually just started that finally, so don't spoil it for me. But
everybody dies.
Well, that I sort of know.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was kidding. Yeah. It's a prequel to Rogue One, so it's kind of like whoa.
But some of the things that I loved about this song, though, the recording, I know you came up with the "We'll make Star Wars." I think I might have come up with "We'll make Star Wars as we wish upon the star," and we'll do it far better, as you said, came up with a story by Pixar, which I love that line. That is so much fun. The tugboat line at the beginning of the song, a long time ago, tugboat far away. That's a tribute to black and white Steamboat Mickey. Yeah,
Steamboat.
Is it Steamboat Willie actually? Yeah. So
Steamboat
that was
Willie,
fantastic. I love that you added the "When You Wish Upon a Star," and you came up with that whole verse. Just a really cool thing. And of course, I came up with the chorus, the one part mouse, one part duck, which is just still a derivative of Jedi drinking song in any case, but which is the song's.
And honestly, when you started with that chorus, I really thought I was really worried you were going to go with that rhyme.
Duck, yes.
It's like I was like, oh no, don't go there, man. I know it's bad, but don't do it.
Looking at the lyrics right now. And it occurs to me that might have been where I was trying to make a joke about, because I have one part mouse, one part duck, one part Jedi, and formulate luck. a Wookiee on my right, and a Goofy on my left. Merging these two companies, ... is the biggest test.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
It's the big.
I just realized that. I think that's where I was going with that. I think it
was intentional because I remember actually thinking, "Oh God, where's he going with this?"
I forgot about that too. Until you mentioned that, I was like, "Oh yeah, you're right." Speaking of graphic manipulation, I was really happy when I took a scene from when we released the single for this. I took a scene from the movie of the 2 moons of Tatooine, and I copied one of those moons and I put it by another one and made a Mickey Mouse head, which made me super happy as well. And the thing that the lines that the third, was that third verse, fourth verse, I don't know, the Mickey meets Minnie verse, that's the one that I was when we originally recorded it, we had a different ending, which was where we were talking about, and Minnie Mice will never be the same. Our love for Minnie Mouse. Our love for Minnie will never be the same, I think she said. And we changed that to our love for those mice will never be the same, because I realized it's kind of shaming for someone who's doesn't need to be shamed. They both, or, shaming the woman, but not the guy. Why is that? That was dumb. So,
Right. Well, I mean, it was. I don't think it was intentional. It was just the flow of where we first talked about this person, then talked about that person, and it just carried on from the last person talked about.
It was
like
mean,
that.
For me,
but
I don't remember. No, I think it was intentional insofar as this is the trope. And I know what the trope is, and the trope is. So when I was, I think I came up with that line, but I think the trope is that our love for that woman is never going to be the same. But by the time we ended up recording it and releasing it, I was like, that's just not right. Why did I or we or whatever came up with that? It's just not right. So I wanted to rewrite it. So which is what we ultimately did.
Really, I thought, I remember how that went down, and I always just thought that was like, gosh, I never thought of it that way.
I didn't think of it. I mean, it wasn't so much that I was attempting to shame one versus the other.
Right.
It was, this is where the joke goes. I mean, it was completely
right.
It wasn't like I wasn't being malicious, but nevertheless, it was a.
No. Right. But it could come off as malicious. So I thought it was a good edit. It was a good edit. I remember thinking, okay, that makes sense.
All in all, I love how the song is still one of my favorite songs on the album to play. So I don't know what your thoughts about it, but I was also excited when I was looking at the webpage so I could see the lyrics, and I realized I got to play this on top of Skellig Michael in Ireland, where the Luke Skywalker, when he's being the hermit that he was in the second film, the second film, when he's being the hermit, that's where those scenes were taken. And when I was up there, I brought my autoharp just so that I could do a video up there. I was very happy with that. So, all right.
Well, that works, but I mean, for me, I think I always had one main gripe with this song. It needs more choreography.
You're probably right. I think you're right. I mean, I try to do the tugboat
because the back and forth, it just begs for it.
We'll work on that. Maybe at Sherwood we can work on that.
Yeah. I think that would work well because it just. I really think. I think part of the issue is that when this song came out, we really weren't performing very often, and that kind of hindered the choreography. So when we perform it, it's kind of like just really. It just seems like there should be more on stage.
Hey, if you enjoy this podcast, make sure you become a patron of ours. We are the Brobdingnagian Bards, and you can join the Nagians Only Club for $5 per month and get even more of this podcast than you just experienced. You can also get some bootleg concerts, some videos, and first access to new songs when we put them out. So go on over to thebards.net. You'll find all that. You can sign up to our mailing list, subscribe to the podcast, and a lot more. And we're going to finish up with Jedi Mickey, the recording. So thank you so much, Andrew. Nice chatting with you. And
woo, nice talking with you too. And just imagine the choreography.
We'll talk to y'all later. Sláinte.
A long time ago, a tugboat far away, Mickey whistled out a tune while bouncing away. He turned color after one too many drinks. Then he called up Lucas saying, "Oh, dude, your writing stinks." When Mickey sobered up, he called the board to plan. "I've had a vision, a lightsaber in my hand. We'll make Star Wars as we wish upon a star. And we'll do it far better with a story by Pixar, huh?" When the mouse wants your franchise, we'll start off licensing for rides. If you're tired and you need some cash, they'll buy from you. 1 part mouse
and 1 part duck,
1 part Jedi and formulate luck. A Wookiee on me right
and a Goofy on me left.
Merging these two companies is the biggest test. There's a Star Destroyer shaped like a mushroom house. The Beagle Boys stand before Sith Lord Mouse. While far away a Jedi Mickey stares into space. 3 moons of Tatooine replaced by Mickey's face. 1 part mouse
and 1 part duck,
1 part Jedi and formulate luck. A Wookiee on me right
and a Goofy on me left.
Merging these two companies, the biggest test. Mickey meets Minnie, the Force is strong with her. He lays a kiss on her and the fans all hurl. Cause Minnie is a sister and that hoax is a shame. Our love for those mice will never be the same. 1 part mouse
and 1 part duck,
1 part Jedi and formulate luck. A Wookiee on me right
and a Goofy on me left.
Merging these two companies, the biggest test. Mickey stabs a Sith, the dark mouse disappears. Wherever there's one Sith Lord, another will appear. A duck steps forward with a cloak as black as ink. With Jedi mice and ducks, I'll need a stronger drink. 1 part mouse
and 1 part duck,
1 part Jedi and formulate luck. A Wookiee on me right
and a Goofy on me left.
Merging these two companies, the biggest test. 1 part mouse and 1 part duck, 1 part Jedi and formulate luck. A Wookiee on me right and a Goofy on me left. Merging these two companies